Thank you, Julia. Welcome to Recovery Dharma, everybody. My name's Josh. I'm one of the facilitators here at Soul Center out of Spokane, Washington. This year, we're exploring monthly topics. As we do every year, we explore monthly topics here at Soul Center. But for 2026, Julia's got us doing a Buddhist 101 year. So we started off exploring the Four Noble Truths, and then from there we have gone into looking at the Eightfold Path, which the Fourth Noble Truth lays out for us. So here in June, we are on the second step along the Noble Eightfold Path, which, among other things, is referred to as wise intention. And Julia has reframed the verbiage for the Four Noble Truths and the steps along the Noble Eightfold Path to make them a little more accessible. And looking at wise intention, the second step along the Eightfold Path, she has chosen the term spaciousness, or the concept of being spacious. And then in the way that we do, we look at the opposite of that, being tight. Being spacious in a way that opens you up to life, to ideas, to good, to bad, and then tight, closing off to things that are good, closing off to things that are bad. Makes me think of boundaries, which, boundaries can be so many different things, good and bad. I've been thinking about the second noble truth, though, specifically thinking about intention lately. I recently retired from my job, and my wife she'll be retired at the end of this month. So it's given us the opportunity to do a lot of reflection and reckoning. And as we were talking just the other day, we were discussing how, both of us achieved a certain level of professional success in our life. And, we were able to be fortunate enough to be middle class. She has way more education than I do. I made choices that got me where I needed to go. But looking back, one can't help, or I can't help, wondering what if a lot of things. There's so many different paths that I could have taken, and chose not to. And a lot of the reasons I did not, now that I'm on this end of my career, I'm looking at with a little more honesty. This practice might be part of that as well. There were a lot of times where I chose not to do things out of fear or insecurity. And there were times when I did do things that I was afraid to do. I took risks. But all of these things, there was an intention. Which is not to say that everything I did in my life was intentional. There are a lot of things, behaviors, actions that I took part in that were not intentional. I've definitely been thoughtless in my life. I've done things in a way that was completely reactive. I've definitely leapt before I've looked at times, with varying degrees of success and failure. But when I look back at the things that I did with intention, even though not everything was a success, all of my successes happened because of something I set out to do intentionally. And I've come to realize most of my successes were not financial successes in this life. My friendships, my relationships with my family, my relationship with my recovery has all been because of intention. And whether or not all of those were wise is debatable. I feel definitely that at this stage of my life, my intentions are becoming more wise, but far from 100% at this point. But if you would all like to join me in a little meditation relating to this topic, I would certainly like you to feel welcome. I'm going to invite my bull to sing. And invite all of you to start by just finding whatever position of comfort works for you where you are. If you're able to find a spot of stillness, I encourage that. If you prefer to stay in motion, then that's awesome. If you are able to find some stillness and it feels safe to do so, I invite you to gently close your eyes or just soften your gaze and start bringing attention to your breath. Just breathing in and breathing out. Come to this moment. There's nowhere else for us to be right now. Nothing to accomplish, nothing to fix. Just breathe. As you breathe, notice your body. Feel the rise and fall of your chest, movement of your abdomen. Notice the sensation of air as it enters through your nose or your mouth, and then as it leaves. And allow each exhale to soften any tension that you're holding. And as your body settles, allow your mind to settle as well. Don't try to force it into silence, just allow it to rest. In this practice, we learn that wise intention is the second step along the Noble Eightfold Path. It follows the first step of wise understanding, because once we see that, we begin to see clearly that we naturally ask ourselves an important question. How do I wish to live? What direction do I want to travel? What kind of person do I want to become? Wise intention allows us to answer these questions. It's the quiet commitment that points our lives in a particular direction, and it's the seed from which our actions grow. Consider for a moment the accomplishments in your life, the large ones, the small ones, the visible successes and the private victories that nobody else knows about. Perhaps learning a skill or building a relationship, raising a family. maintaining recovery. Every one of these accomplishments began long before the action itself. They began with an intention, a decision, a willingness, a simple but profound declaration that this matters to me. I wish to move toward this. I'm willing to take the first step. As you breathe, imagine that you're a traveler standing at the edge of a vast wilderness. Your destination, whatever it may be, lies far beyond the horizon. The journey may take months, it may take years. The path may be steep or treacherous. There may be setbacks, uncertainty, difficult terrain. Yet you, the traveler, begins, not because you can already see the destination, not because you know every step, but because you've set an intention. This intention becomes your compass, and this intention gives meaning to each and every step. Without that intention, as travelers, would just remain standing where we are. Now, consider the opposite. Reflect on times when actions were taken without intention, moments of habit, impulse, reactivity, moments when life simply happened to us instead of being consciously chosen. Without intention, we might have found ourselves wandering in circles, following old patterns, surrendering to our habit energy, pulled by cravings, fears, distractions. Without intention, effort often becomes scattered. Energy is spent, but little progress is made. And we just drift wherever the currents happen to take us. And as you breathe, reflect that in this practice, we're taught that much of our discomfort arises from moving through life unconsciously, driven by forces we do not examine. Wise intention invites us to become active participants in our lives, to choose our direction rather than to simply react to circumstance. Bring attention to your own life. Ask yourself gently, what am I moving toward? What intention is guiding my actions? And what qualities do I want to cultivate? Perhaps kindness, patience, honesty, courage, compassion. Perhaps there's a dream that you carry quietly within yourself, a goal, a hope, a vision for your future. And as you think of these goals, these hopes, notice if your mind immediately begins listing obstacles, reasons it may not happen, reasons it might be too difficult. Maybe it's too late for you to do it. Maybe it's too complicated. Simply notice these thoughts. Allow them to pass like clouds crossing an open sky, because wise intention is not concerned with how far away a destination may seem. Wise intention is simply concerned with the direction. It's like a mountain climbed one step at a time, or a forest, or an ocean crossed with that first step. Every one of our lives is transformed one step at a time. And every meaningful journey begins with the willingness or the intention to take that first step. Breathing in and breathing out. Imagine you're holding a seed in your hand, a small little seed. Bears no resemblance to the tree it may someday become. Its future is hidden from view, and yet within that tiny seed lives tremendous potential. Wise intention is like that seed. When planted and nurtured, it gradually shapes our thoughts, our actions, and eventually our lives. No dream is achieved all at once. No recovery happens overnight. No lasting transformation appears by magic. It all begins with a seed, an intention to move in that direction, and a commitment to keep moving forward. As we continue breathing, bring to mind one wise intention that you would like to strengthen in your life. Keep it simple, nothing too extravagant or complicated. Perhaps, may I live with honesty? May I cultivate compassion? May I continue with my recovery? Allow your chosen intention to rest gently in your awareness, not as a demand, but as an invitation, a compass pointing toward what matters. As you breathe in, imagine nourishing this intention. Breathing out, imagine releasing anything that pulls you away from it. Breathing in, strengthening your purpose. Breathing out, releasing confusion. Breathing in, cultivating clarity. And breathing out, letting go of doubt. Remember that wise intentions do not guarantee an easy path. They do something far more important. They make the path possible. The destination may be distant, the challenges may be real, but once a wise intention has been planted, the journey has already begun. And each step taken with awareness becomes part of the fulfillment of that intention. As we come to the end of this meditation, bring your awareness back to your body. Notice the sensations of sitting or lying, wherever you are. Notice the sounds around you, the movement of your breath. Take a deep inhale and a slow exhale. As we go forward, carry your intention with you, not as something to achieve someday, rather as a direction to walk, one wise, mindful step at a time. Namaste, friends. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everybody, for being here this evening. Always good to see your faces. I'd like to offer a dedication of merit. May any benefit from this practice strengthen wise intention within us. May we cultivate clarity, purpose, and compassion, trusting that each wise intention becomes a step toward that which is most meaningful in our lives. Namaste.
Namaste.